Hi everyone, and welcome to the Hotel Revenue Management and Marketing webcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sharing their insights and expertise, we have Matt Dibbing, who is the Director of Revenue at Nuvo. We also have Yannicka Leffers, who is the Director of Marketing at Nuvo as well. Just quickly before we do get started, we did have an overwhelming response to the questions submitted through registration for this webcast. Our panelists will be addressing as many as time allows, and we are looking at the most popular questions at the end of the webcast. I hear Yannicka has also challenged Matt to a couple of keywords for this webcast. So basically those are burgers, fisherman, and custard. So let's see how that plays out. Basically, I'm going to hand over to Matt and Yannicka. Let's get started.
Hi, hello everybody. Yes, Yannicka actually challenged me to...
Hi everyone.
Welcome, by the way. And yes, Yannicka challenged me to do something, which was to insert certain words, keywords in the presentation. I love analogies. And she said, look, Matt, if you can introduce burgers, custard, and fisherman, you'll get a reward. And it's almost that the presentation is also a little bit upside down as well, where I do the pitches and I'm revenue, and she does the text down in the action points we're going to give you at the end of the broadcast. So look, I think we should get started, but before we do, wanted to introduce ourselves. My name is Matt. I created Nuvo about 3 years ago with a couple of business partners with a view to just provide independent hotels with revenue and hotel management capabilities, essentially. So we do anything from revenue management, marketing, and sales. I worked with Yannicka for about 9 years in different companies. Yannicka is probably the best in the business when it comes to marketing. And she's helping us at the moment. We're very lucky to have her in at Nuvo. We're also launching the Hotel Collective, which we thought was needed in the market. We operate with independent hotels, which with the suppliers during COVID, were having a hard time to get benefits from those suppliers, or those suppliers didn't really help them out. They were getting their subscription and getting their fees, but without necessarily reducing them. And I thought it was a good opportunity to band together as independent hotels to try to get better group buying outcomes, collective bargaining. And so we'll be launching this probably over the next couple of weeks, and we'll probably have those discussions. So if you're interested in that, let me know after the broadcast. For now, let's get started, Yannicka.
Excellent. Sounds like a good plan. Happy
days. All right. So we obviously all know why we're here. Our industry, well, the world's been a bit decimated. Our industries, until a couple of months ago, were running at single-digit occupancies. For some, it's still the case in Melbourne. They were just on the way up and got knocked back. So sorry for Victorians that are here. I heard also that there were a few people that are registered from New Zealand as well as from the US, so welcome. I wanted to clarify a couple of words that I'm going to use for you guys from overseas. I'll talk a bit about JobKeeper in a minute. JobKeeper is a government incentive that has been provided to businesses, and that's to do exactly that, to keep jobs. So hoteliers are being helped at the moment by the government, and the big conversation at the moment, which is probably going to be answered next week at the mini federal budget on the 23rd of June, is whether or not this incentive is going to be extended. Without that extension, a lot of hotels will not be able to continue to operate. Essentially, if you are employed at the moment, any of you attending this webinar, you're on JobKeeper probably, or part of your salary is subsidized by JobKeeper. If your hotel is still open, your owner is losing money with that JobKeeper. This is what we're dealing with. So we're talking essentially not about performing, we're talking about surviving. We're talking about break even. And in 6 months' time, no magician is going to show up and change this. I wanted to set the scene a little bit because everybody thinks that it's temporary. Yeah, it's temporary, but it's going to last at least a year. And that's until a vaccine is found. Otherwise, we're going to go back to those back and forth and our economy is going to be impacted. And I want to set the scene here because I've seen some of the question, which was, you know, how can I drive my occupancy by keeping my rates up? I'm not going to give you the answer for that because I'm not a magician. But I think I should just show you what we've been doing for hotels, for our hotels, the hotels we look after. Our mandate with hotel owners is to drive revenue for them and to ensure that we drive profits. So my view is not revenue. I'm not a director of revenue. I'm a profit generator. This is what we do. We understand the P&L of all our clients. We've got clients that operate at 60, 70% in Brisbane at the moment. We've got clients in the Hunter Valley that operates at 87%. We've got clients in Melbourne that have single-digit occupancy and going down at the moment. We operate caravan parks and we operate hotels, apartment style, anything in between. So we've got a pretty good view of what's actually working and what is not. And having a talk to Brad, I just wanted to, it's just explaining what we were doing. He thought, look, let's put a webinar together and you can share some of the ingredients of what you do, a little bit of the secret sauce. And this is where burger is going to be mentioned. Yeah, we're going to give you a little bit of what we do and why we do it this way. First of all, let me start with the motto. When the crisis hit, that's when our work started. We started 2 to 3 months ago about doing the things we do now. And this is why our hotels are actually performing the way they do. We gain market share. We want market share, and it's about survival. If your hotel doesn't operate at 45% at least, your EBITDA will not be profitable or will not break even. And with the rates that you're going to see in the market only in the next few months, it's probably around 50 to 55%. So therefore, you look at this and you're saying, well, okay, the market is operating at 20%. I need to pick up twice my fair share. Twice my fair share. That is for my owner to make any money, for me to stay in work. And so when I was explaining this to the team, when the crisis hit, our work started then. And we had a few mottos. So the demand you normally capture is not reflective of the total demand. And I'm just going to hide this. So focus on the demand you not normally capture. Your market segmentation you experienced 3 months ago is irrelevant at the moment. If you were a corporate hotel, they're not traveling, or they're traveling on smaller numbers. If you're a government hotel, well, you will have a few, but generally they give all our money to us, so they don't have much money to spend moving forward. You'll be looking for leisure. Make sure you do the fundamental basics first. Focus on survival and then focus on what everybody else is doing. And that's the custard analogy. The custard is very simple recipe, 5 ingredients. And if you look at MasterChef at the moment, if you give 5 ingredients to different people, you've got different outcomes. So, but you can make a lot of things with custard, ice cream, tarts, etc. And this is what people are concentrating on. But if the custard is shit, everything is shit. I'm sorry. Then we looked at it from a fisherman. The fisherman with the better boat that knows how to navigate the sea, with the bigger distribution net, with the better bait, will catch the fish. So you need to compete. And you need to do all the basics that you are required to do from a sales, marketing, revenue management. The last point is important because you cannot think like you were thinking 3 months ago. You need to change your mind. No place for dreamers or unrealistic fools at this time. Economic principle and market pressure mean that rate will go down and you will need to compete to capture more than your fair share to keep your hotel open and your staff employed. So what are the fundamentals? Revenue minus cost equals profit. That's only if you can capture revenue. Otherwise, you make a loss, and at the moment, most of you are. Demand versus supply as a price equilibrium. That's normal economics. And that's always been the case. That rule has been there for thousands and millions of years. Dinosaurs were fighting for food. The stronger got it. The losers didn't. You will need to compete. The wider distribution net, more chance to be visible. So if you didn't work with certain operators, certain distributors in the past because they were driving 10, 15 rooms nights and you thought it was good to switch them off, well, those ones have a niche. If they were able to compete with Booking.com, Expedia, Flight Center, AOT, those guys have a niche. You want that niche. You want those few rooms that they could drive for your business because it's about compounding your business on the books. It's about getting a few room nights from there, a few room nights from here, a few room nights from there. And this is what builds up that occupancy. Finally, the bait. You need good value for money. It's a very simple equation, quality divided by price. You offer quality at a good price, you're more likely to get a sale. The opposite is true. And at the moment, when you look at the market, the 5-star hotels have better facilities. They've got a base of cost, which now a lot closer to a 3- and 4-star hotel. So their rates are going to go down. They're going to offer more value to the consumer. And the consumer is more likely to buy them because they're going to get better value, facilities, etc. So the 4-star and the 3-star are going to have to readjust their mindset as well. If you got the better value for money, you're more likely to convert on OTAs. And I'll get back to that because that's where people search. They are the yellow pages of the 21st century for hotels. This is where people search. There is research that has been done that 73% of us in Australia are searching for hotels on OTAs. So do you need to work with OTAs? Will they disappear? No, they will not disappear. That was one of the questions. They will only get stronger. So market forces. If you're not Yoda or Luke Skywalker, you cannot control the force. I can't be clearer than that. Prices will go down. And if it's not your rates, that will be the rates of your competitors. So do I keep my rates up, follow the market, do my own thing? That's a key question. And that key question is very important because you cannot drive occupancy by keeping your rates up at the moment. The brands that are keeping their rates up at the moment, I've received about 10 EDMs from them over the last 2 weeks telling me that I can get a 40% discount if I sign up with them. So what you see in a market is a smoking screen. What's important is what's happening underneath. So at Nouveau, we choose to do our own thing. Because technically, when you actually look at it, it's about a game. It's about a game theory. You need to win. It's like Monopoly. And there was research that has been done. If you heard about The Beautiful Mind with that movie with Russell Crowe, it's about John Nash. John Nash came up with that equilibrium. If you cooperate, you end up with the same outcome of who you cooperate with. So in this market, you cannot cooperate. It's illegal. You cannot create a cartel. It's illegal. So you need to compete. And as you defect, you've got more chance to grab that share. This is what we choose to do. And we're not doing it stupidly. We're not just discounting. That's a bad word, but look, you've got discount galore at the moment. We've got to look at ourselves. We've got to look at ourselves as customers. Yeah, we run a hotel, but I love a good deal when I go on holidays. So your customers love a good deal as well. If you want to keep your rates up, I compared it to not eating. Imagine a crowd of hungry hoteliers that haven't eaten for weeks, that haven't had many bookings for weeks. And generally the people that tell you to keep their rates up, they come up with an article from 2019 that's got no relevance to the current situation. And they tell you of a book, theoretical book, that you need to keep your rates up when you're trying to survive. JobKeeper makes you survive. If you don't have JobKeeper, your hotel owner is bankrolling the hotel with his own money. How long can he last? So if somebody tells me to keep my rates up, it's like saying, you see all those burgers there? Don't eat them, don't eat them. Wait for the bigger one. Now look at how many people are in that crowd. Do you reckon that they're not going to eat the smaller burgers? Now you can wait for the bigger one, but technically, if you're not eating, you die.
Well done, great analogy. You got
Yes,
the
thank you.
burger in.
Thank you. And you haven't seen the best. I choose to go in a burger eating context. That's me at that picture. Technically, I'm going to pick up your share. If you want to keep your heads up, thank you very much. Keep going, because there's going to be people like me that are going to pick up your share. And I'm not thinking about it in a short term. It's going to be in the long term as well, because this is a long-term pandemic. You need to look at it that for the next year, you're going to have to compete. What happens is that you get more media coverage, because the more you convert and the more you get exposure on the OTAs where people search. And the more you get exposure, the more you convert. So I'll come back to that. And here is the fisherman. The fisherman with a bigger net that knows how to navigate the sea, that understands where the fishes are, that's got a bigger net, the better team, and a better bait, will catch more fish. And I look at it very much this way. It's about expanding my distribution net. It's about having the right value for money. That's the bait. It's about having a team that works together. There's no revenue management, marketing, and sales. They're all one and the same. If you work alone in silos and you choose to keep your heads up, you be the one on the left.
It's definitely one of the key messages. It's crucial to all band together.
Exactly. And I think when you look at it from that perspective, you need to navigate your market. So if you look at Australia, those stats are from Tourism Research Australia. If you think you're a corporate hotel, you never are a corporate hotel, even in 2018 and 2019. Your market segmentation might show that you were capturing more than your fair share in corporates on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 days out of 7. And then you were transitioning into a leisure hotel. And for 4 months of the year, which was school holidays, those corporates didn't travel. So technically, those stats make sense. I choose to focus at the moment on the holiday market, always in fact, because it's 70% of the demand in any market. So if you're not capturing it, doesn't mean it's not there. It's just you're not capturing it. At the moment at Nouveau, we try to capture more of that leisure market, because when you actually have a look at it, international disappeared. But equally, outbound departures, Australian going overseas, or New Zealanders going overseas, or US Americans going overseas, they will now travel domestically. So there's a switch now. So leisure travel will increase in Australia and in those countries. They will travel more domestically, but they will start ticking the bucket list. So they will go to Uluru, they will go to the Great Barrier Reef, they will go to Tassie when those markets reopen to interstate travel. At the moment, they will travel domestically. They've got a car, they can't fly. So if you've got a parking, that's a good value proposition to offer at this stage. Corporates, governments, entertainment, they're all trying to save money at the moment. They've got a business to run. They will have to make people redundant if next week JobKeeper is not extended for many industries, like is probably the case. I think that we will be in the winners. I think JobKeeper will be extended for the hospitality industries, but I don't think all industries will be that lucky. So August will be quite sobering. There was a growth of small incentive groups as well that we've experienced, and that was just people reconnecting after spending 3 months at home. Weekends and holidays, you probably see that your weekends are doing better. And that's because people don't really have annual leave anymore. They used it during the pandemic, so they can only travel weekends. And it's not only until September where they will have enough annual leave to start taking holidays with their family. So what you will find is at the moment during these school holidays at this stage is that you will find people travel on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They make it a long weekend, but they're not traveling midweek. So essentially you perform well weekend, but your midweek is where you need to drive business. And you're not corporate. The corporates don't travel, or very few. So you're gonna have to target more leisure. It's about touch points, therefore. Those guests or those consumers are searching mostly on OTAs, are searching mostly on review sites, are searching mostly on Airbnb and all the likes. That's where you need to be present. That's where you need to buy exposure. I'm sure that your marketing budgets are all been slashed. So there was a question, and I'm going to answer it now. What is your best marketing channels? The OTAs. That's where customers search, and you only pay when a booking is delivered, and you're going to get a lot of leads direct. I'm going to show you why in a minute. But you need to position your product with the right price and value to attract as many customers as possible. So therefore, you're looking at searches, and you're looking at entering as many searches as possible. This is the figures that is important. 73% of people in Australia search on OTAs, on Meta, because they saw the Trivago girl on TV for the past year that told them that they could get a better price when they were searching. But technically, they make a decision of their hotel here at that level, and then they search for the best price. And they might end up booking on your hotel website. Then you will attract them via an EDM. They will go on your website, but they will say, well, okay, I understand you've got a price for me. Now let me go and see what's out there. So they will go back to an OTA, and they will go back to other channels, and they will start searching again. And what will they find? They will start evaluating a range of products. And they will start looking at what products fit their needs and wants. And what they will find is they will define a range. Let's say it's between $100 and $200. That's the cost of those hotels. Therefore, $150 should be a good deal. It's sort of mid-range. Fits my budget, it's all good. Now, what can I get for $150? Well, I can get the Ovolo, perhaps at $190, including minibar, including parking, including Wi-Fi, including all this. And the Novotel next door is $179. Where will I book? Where will I book? I'm looking for value. I'm looking for a good deal. I'm going to go to the Ovolo. Maybe I'm looking for 3 nights. Therefore, I don't see the room as a bed anymore. I see the room as a space I'm going to interact with. So I was going to buy perhaps the leading room, but now all of a sudden, they're giving me a discount because I'm booking 3 nights and I've got a length of stay offer. Oh, so that's good. I'm saving about $10, $20 here. Let me upgrade to a better room with that money. And this is what we're trying to do with Nuvo, is essentially showing the value of people. We attract them with a good rate for price-driven bookers, but we've got other products we're trying to upsell based on different lengths of stay. We're playing with our increments between room type. If a suite used to be $200 increment between the leading price points and that suite, we reduce it to $100 to encourage people to buy that suite if they never bought it before at $200. So we're looking at conversion, and we're trying to align our value proposition with the consumer willingness to pay. If they're not willing to pay, tell him he's dreaming. So value equals quality divided by price. And this is important. You need to offer quality at the same price, at the same time as the price. And you need to have that right balance between, therefore, your price, your idea, and your occupancy and what you're trying to achieve. And it's about encouraging people to upgrade. So you're not doing it foolishly. You're not just discounting. You've got procedures in place to upsell people to higher room types or rates that will generate higher yield or higher profitability for you. Because if you keep your rates up, the consumer will dismiss you in that range. If you're $250 when the range is $100 to $200, you're out of the equation. If you come in at $200, you're expensive. If you're coming at $100 for a 5-star, well, you're stupid. I think you need to put some value on your product, but you need to evaluate the range of product in your market. So if you started looking at only a small segment of competitors, don't. Start looking at the whole market. That will give you an idea of the range. And those touch points, as you convert more, you will start getting more visibility. And as you get more visibility on the OTAs, you will start getting more conversion. And that's a positive cycle that will generally drive higher conversion, higher level of bookings. I'm going to hand over to Janneke, because I gave you the sort of guest pass to booking. What are you looking for at the moment? Answers a couple of questions, hopefully. But I think Janneke will then take it to the next level, because it's your responsibility once you got a lead to your website to then convert them. And Janneke is probably the best that I've met at doing this, and she'll be able to cover other aspects as well.
Yeah, so I'll take you through some of the actions, and this is what we've implemented and what we continue to implement for our clients. And this is something that, you know, each of these action points you and your own teams can pick up and put into practice. Now, this is not the Holy Grail. This is not all the ins and outs of it, but this is a good summary. So if you start off anywhere, start off with this. One of the most important things is, and Matt alluded to it earlier, there is not one team that's more important though that's going to manage to turn your hotel performance around. It is now more than ever important that you all come together. So action number one is create a plan. And don't just do that in silos. Don't have a sales plan and a marketing plan and a revenue strategy all come together. And that needs to be your customer facing teams, your sales, your revenue, and your marketing. Set your objectives, be really clear in what you want to achieve, and have those at the forefront. And every time that you review your performance, you overlay that to your objectives, and you make sure that everyone stays on task. Plan in stages. So think about the really short term. It's a really hard marketplace at the moment. Things will look better. So think about really short term tactical activity. Think about your medium to long term activity. So that's really about engaging with your customers, engaging with your past guests, nurturing your subscribers, your social media followers, and think about your long lead and really nurturing your guests and guests that come through your door and how you can use those, your word of mouth, your guest reviews. Really encourage your guests to leave reviews wherever you can, because more and more in this time, people are really going to turn to those to see how you're doing in terms of your service, how you're doing in terms of your cleanliness, your COVID, your COVID activities, making sure that, everything's clean and, guests feel safe. And this time it's more important than ever. Don't just think about your rooms revenue. This is one of the things that, we really look at, and all the talk and pretty much all of the questions were all about room rates. And yes, room rates are incredibly important on the hotel's P&L, but also consider all of your other options, your food and beverage, your conferences, your events, your retail, your tours. So get your customers in, have a strategy in place on how you can leverage all of these other revenue streams. Start planning for the longer lead, for your conferences, for your weddings. People are still getting married. You might need to adapt how you deliver that, but think about all of the opportunities that you have in your, to your disposal for your hotel, and consider all of your distribution channels. So don't just think about what you have, your own website, think about your OTAs, think about your trade partners, and so on. Focus on increasing your exposure and your customer touch points. And this is what Matt has already sort of discussed and talked about. Look at the entire distribution landscape. So you establish relationships and partnerships. Go back to everyone that you're already doing business with. Speak to your OTAs, speak to your trade partners, see what you can do to get more visibility in their channels. Improve your content. Go over, now that you probably have a little bit more time in your hands and unfortunately a little bit less customer service to do, take the time to go over every single listing. Make sure that you've ticked everything. And Matt and his team are really good at this. Just to make sure that on your OTA listings, for example, all of your inclusions are really important. We've got it here, air conditioning. It's one of the main things that people use as a filter when they're searching for rooms on an OTA. So make sure that all your content is correct, up to date, and as appealing as possible.
And if I may add, Janneke, if I may add, if you've got air conditioning, is selected as a filter on an OTA, and is not ticks for your hotel, you will not show up.
Exactly.
So
it's
those
really
filters,
easy to drop off.
What we did is we looked and went on an OTA, made a booking like a normal guest, and we started looking at all the filter options. And it was a very simple thing, but we said, if somebody clicked on that filter and we've got the capabilities, we need to make sure that we come up in that search. And so it's really about the multiplication of all those measures that will drive a little bit more exposure, but you need to make sure your content is up to scratch as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another one is get in touch with your destination marketing organization or your RTOs or your DMOs. Some of them have got offers that you can get memberships for free for a 12-month period. So take advantage of that. They've got budgets. They're getting more budgets. You know, it's in their best interest. So tap into that. And make sure that you're listed there, make sure that you take advantage of what activity they're putting out, and whatever they're sharing, make sure you share and follow it, and amplify what they're doing, because that will bring customers to you.
We also look at it from a cost recovery exercise. So therefore, we do not hesitate to participate, or our hotels participate with the lack of luxury escape. Triple D. Qantas exclusive, Qantas rewards program. You've got a lot of programs like that, which are about going into certain partners' ecosystem and have the ability to have exposure. The way I think about luxury escape will be to just basically put business on the books that are cost neutral and contribute to covering fixed costs. And then hopefully that will provide a little bit of base that I can layer up with other segment business from other segments and other distributors. So it's really, you know, when you speak to your OTAs and trade partners, they will tell you how you can make them more commission.
Yeah.
That's the way you need to think about it. Whatever they tell you knows is going to generate money for them. But if it generates money for them, it's generating money for you as well.
Exactly.
So when they're calling you and they come and want to meet you or something like that, just agree. They're going to give you invaluable information and action points that you can utilize as well. So don't dismiss them. They're potentially at the moment a friend rather than a foe, in my view.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You need to know when to use partners like these and use them to your advantage. But definitely right now, it's something that I would sign up for. Okay, so following on, so what else can we look at? So we've looked at increasing our exposure, our distribution channel. Then we're getting more eyeballs. That's the whole idea. We're working with every partner that we can find. We're getting listed everywhere where we possibly can. So we're getting more eyeballs, getting more traction to our own website. So what do we do right now is optimize your website. Take the time. We're not spending it on media. We're not advertising. Take the time to review, refresh, and extend your website. Think about imagery, updating your copy, getting some video done, creating virtual tours, anything to really elevate your hotel's proposition. Optimize your booking funnel. So we're getting the people to our website. Now we need to make sure that converting is easy and seamless. Make sure that you've got the right booking engine that has a high conversion rate. Invest in the technology. Look around. Maybe this is a good time just to shop around, just to see what's there. Don't stay with your incumbent technology provider. Have a look and just compare. Invest in technology that will help you. If you have a good booking engine, that will help you increase your conversion. So things like heat mapping and A/B testing. A really simple thing, a really simple tool, recommend everyone to add is a really simple feature is a why book direct. Have really clearly outline why people should book with you. Why should they choose your hotel over a different hotel? Why should they book on your website over on an OTA's website? And those are really simple things. And at the moment, really important things like no fuss cancellation policies, you know, peace of mind. What's happened during the early stages of COVID? It's like all travel was cancelled and people weren't getting their money back. So consumers are looking to book direct because it'll give them peace of mind, because they are more confident dealing with the operator directly. The other thing is COVID safe messaging. Make sure that people know that when they get to your property that you have taken all precautions and that they're going to be safe and they're going to have a safe holiday. Highlight your top 10 features. What are your top features? What are the top services? Why should they choose your hotel over the one that's next door? And create secret or subscriber only offers. So you've gotten them to your website, now convert them with an offer. And this can be really simple things like late checkout, early check-in, a bottle of bubbles. It doesn't have to be huge value. It can be small value. It could be parking. Exactly.
Parking. Most people drive at the moment. There's not many flights, so otherwise it can be expensive. So if you've got parking, the best is to include parking. What we found is that the hotel in our network that performed the best were the one that include parking as opposed to offering a discount on parking. It's got more value than a breakfast. Breakfast, you can get it at the cafe next door for $10. Parking, generally in a city particularly, is going to be relatively expensive. So if you are able to include this, you will get a lot more conversion. If you are able to do it direct only, any lead that you're getting from an OTA, because you will get most your lead from somebody that search on an OTA, choose your hotel, go through the meta funnel like the Trivago girl and look for the best price, and they will end up on your website. If you tell them, is that price including breakfast and including parking, and the parking is free, you will convert them. So give them a little nudge. Our hotels convert at the moment around 60% direct. So they operate at 60-70% for some of them, occupancy in a market like Brisbane or there was Hunter Valley, etc. And they're converting 60% of that direct. They've got an unreal offer, but it works.
Yeah. And this is the reality. People are searching more. So people are taking more time to really review and research where they're going to book. So that also means that there is more opportunity for you to convert these bookings direct. So just do anything and everything you possibly can to get those bookings direct, and really look at all of those key elements. And pricing is the next one. Think about your pricing, think about your value proposition, and think about how you get people, how you create different offerings for different target markets.
Janneke, we had a discussion this morning. I was doing a yield meeting with one of our clients, discussing about what we're doing, and they're doing relatively well, and it's a good thing. And the question is, should we lift our rates? I was like, no. You're performing and getting twice your fair share. What do you want to change it? Because we think we should, and the answer was still no. And I was relatively strong about it. And you need to have those conversations where we're not precious anymore. We need to have those frank discussions about why. You should be standing up to your GM about explaining why they should not be doing certain things. Otherwise, if you can't be a yes man at the moment. And the GM needs to accept the fact that they've got people that know what they're doing and they're professional at what they're doing and see the world in a different way that they are. And that's the best combination. But the reality is that the rates, when we looked at it, I was saying, how many corporates do you have in your buildings that you didn't have before? And they've got about 5-10 corporates coming in on the daily basis. Those 5-10 corporates are the ones that not normally stay in that hotel. And what they're doing is they're now targeting those corporates that normally stay in one of their competitors, that are staying now because of their rates. And this is free sale. you buying and you targeting that customer that may be a corporate government guest, they're coming to stay. And so your responsibility on check-in or on is to look at whoever checks in and start targeting whoever comes from a company. You want to know who they are. You want to know where they come from, why they choose to stay with you in this particular time. Could you do business with them into the future? This is the time to buy relationships as well. And if you're not doing it, somebody else will. It's the time to steal that market share from a segmentation perspective. We do need using lengths of stay. We do need using room type increments. There's a direct correlation between longer lengths of stay and upgrade room types. Have a look at it. Most of the people that stay in your upgraded room type will generally be 2+ nights. So therefore, they look at the room not as a room anymore, not as a bed. They look at it as a space they're going to interact with. Therefore, you've got more chance if you give a discount, for example, on a 3-night stay, on a 2-night stay, on a 4-night stay, whatever length of stay, they are more likely, if they stay longer, to upgrade to the next room type available. What you have is you've got 2 types of customer, price-driven and value-added, or people that look for value and for add-ons. You need to have 2 types of customers to attract 2 types of customers. You probably had some customers in your hotel you didn't, or you would not normally want to attract. Let me just put it nicely. You just normally, they're not your crowd. They were the only one that were traveling because they were floating the rules. The good people that you normally attract were listening to the rule and staying home. So they're the one that were staying in your hotel. But those guys, when the normal people comes out, they don't feel comfortable about staying around. So automatically, as you start getting more occupancy, this crowd will sort of disappear and you will go back into your normal segmentation or normal crowd. You need to target corporate, governments, and entertainment. And what I mean by that is you've got a relationship with them and they're trying to save money. They are trying to save money. And at the moment, you could put a fence. You could go back to your corporate account and tell them, until the end of the year, for bookings up to September, we're going to help you out because you've been supporting us in the good times. We want to support you during these difficult times. We are therefore going to give you XYZ rate until the end of the year. They know there's a limit. You put a fence on it. The reality is that if you don't do it, they will go on an OTA to start looking for a cheaper room and they will end up in your competitor. So you need to secure that business and you need to offer them something. You need to make sure it is clear to them that this is temporary and that will be reviewed based on what's happening in the market. Also ditch the friction. Non-cancelable, non-refundable. Will you book one? I mean, at the end of the day now, if I would have booked a hotel in Melbourne on a non-refundable rate, well, I wouldn't be able to get my money back. It's very uncertain times. So if you start putting non-cancelable, to get a discount, to get, people won't book it. You need to be flexible.
People need complete flexibility at this time. And this is really about giving people a peace of mind about booking with you. One of the key ingredients. Okay.
So that's on the points that I made before. And create new segments. Sometimes a young family with a child just need a microwave to heat a baby bottle. They don't need an apartment, but they will look at an apartment if at a hotel they cannot get a microwave. So there could be, I don't know, something there. It could be that you've got a room big enough, and if you invest $700 in a sofa bed, then that becomes a family room. So you target the same room, 2 different target segments. That $700 could over time generate maybe $7K worth of revenue. So the return on investment is 10 to 1 there. And really look at it this way: where do you spend your money, and where could you have the most return on investment? And the last one, there's no parity now. It's every man for themselves.
Yeah.
Technically, the OTAs are struggling like you. They're going to do their shenanigans. But what we do is, because they got customers that will look on mobile, because they got members, because they've got people that will book on Expedia no matter what, because they've got people that will book from overseas now for next year, we participate to absolutely every program on the OTAs. No shame about that. We give them overrides in commission to get a higher listing. If 70% of people search on an OTA, 70% of people on average search on an OTA, that's 70% of the demand in that market. I want to be on page 1. If I don't have money to spend on marketing and they offer me the opportunity to be on the #1 search channel on page 1, by just giving an extra 5% that I pay only when I get a booking, I'll give it to them. It's as simple as that. They're my friends at the moment. And most of the hotels we see that are performing well in our portfolio are all on #1, on the page 1 of those OTAs. Why? Because we give them more opportunity to make more money. All our offering is aligned with our competition. We are more likely to convert. The key secret of the algorithm is which hotel is more likely to convert and make us money. It's as simple as that. So if you're more likely to make money to an OTA, you will get the business and they will put you up the listing. But make sure that you've got an unreal offer direct from when the leads are coming to your website. And as I said, 60% of our bookings are coming direct because we utilize the OTA. We on page 1, we only pay when we get a booking, but we receive a lot of lead direct because we understand that the consumer will also come and contact us over the phone or via our website. So yeah, I get excited.
You get carried away. Yeah, so really this just follows on to what you were saying. Find your distribution channels, find your methods to distribute that have the smallest cost and the highest yield. You know, it's all about driving ROI. Don't be too creative right now. Do what works. So there's a couple of key ingredients that I suggest everyone applies. We apply it very successfully, and I suggest, you know, these, if you can do anything, focus on these core activities. So one of the things is, the status is about 68% of travelers who intend to stay at a hotel feel most comfortable booking with a hotel that they've stayed at before. So that's a massive opportunity. That's a 70% opportunity of converting a past guest again. So nurture your past guest, nurture your database. So right now, when you have probably more time, less resources or budget, spend your time on cleaning, organizing, and segmenting your database. It's something that we should always be doing. I don't think that there are many of us that actually do. It's one of these activities that sort of falls by the wayside. We know that email converts, we know that past guests convert, but we usually are too busy with everything else. So I recommend stop what you're doing right now, turn to your database and mine that data. Implement automated trigger emails. So these are the absolute minimum ones that you should be implementing. It's a simple welcome email when somebody actually subscribes, a win back or cart abandonment. The conversions out of that are ridiculous. This is one that you definitely need to do. Pre-arrival upsell email. So if you're in single digits occupancy, you're not going to lose. You're going to increase the customer experience. You're going to increase your revenue. Send them an upsell offer before they come. And that doesn't just have to be a room upgrade. That can be F&B, that can be your spa. And just think about it. If you get them to dine in your restaurant, they're going to buy wine and they're going to have a drink, or you give them a drink and they'll end up in your bar and they'll probably end up eating there. You give them a small spa treatment, they're probably going to spend then the time in upselling them a bigger treatment. An arrival email is actually one of the ones that has the best open rate. So that is the day that your customer arrives on your property. Send them an email saying welcome. Give them some key information about your property. And again, take that opportunity to sell the things that are important to them during their stay. So the spa, if you have a special F&B offer, and so on. Take that opportunity. It's one of the emails that has the absolute best open rate. And then obviously you post stay email, thanking them for their stay, urging them to leave guest reviews on through whatever channel they've booked. So that could be the OTAs, that could be direct, that could be TripAdvisor, that could be your Google. These reviews are going to be really, really important right now, and give them an offer to come back. Social media, so both your organic and your paid, use that right now to build a relationship with your audience. Deliver value. So don't just hit them over the head with offer after offer after offer. So build a relationship, give them a reason to continue to follow you, continue to engage with you, and then to convert with you. And then invest your time and your resources in setting up that conversion funnel. So create assets and user targeting in every single phase of your conversion funnel, your top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, and utilize all of your paid search, your digital display, and your social. So that's sort of something that you really want to have in place over the next couple of months, and then you sort of tap in your special offers into there, and then continuously optimize your campaign. So measure, review again, go back to your objectives. Is this delivering to objectives? And adjust, then repeat. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Always make small tweaks. Set up one big long campaign, tap in new offers throughout that, and always adjust marginally. Don't throw out your entire campaign, start again, make small adjustments and see how you go. And then lastly, and I think this is actually probably one of the key ones, is focus on your guest experience and turn your past guests into repeat visitors and advocates. Put extra effort into servicing them. So if you have single-digit occupancies or very low occupancies, there cannot be any reason why you're not over servicing your customers, why you're not having a conversation with them in the hallway, why you're not surprising and delighting them with small touches. And here are just a couple of examples that are really easy and cost effective to implement. You know, it could just be a couple of chocolates, a bottle of bubbles, hand sanitizer, a face mask with your hotel's logo on it. Even something that's just a personalized handwritten welcome card that's left in the room for the guests. It's all of these tiny little personal touches and little things that you can do that will make their guest experience memorable. A positive guest review and their word of mouth, the value out of that is unmeasurable. Now tap into that. So you have a guest who's incredibly happy and had a great experience. When they leave, give them something to return for. Give them an exclusive offer and a discount and something that they can share as well. So you can do that as a postcard or you can do that as an email, but make it something that will encourage them to come back and encourage them to share that with their friends and family. I think those are really, you know, there is a lot more in the raft of activity that you could do. But if you're going to put your focus, your limited resources probably, and your focus into anything, it will be these action items.
The presentation will be shared as well. So all these can be used as a plan. And from a question perspective, I'm just going to sort of go, but I think there were a few questions. I'm just going to, I know I'm still sharing, so you probably will see this, but we choose a few. Approach to pricing, a natural tendency to slash pricing to attract above market share, long-term impact on market. If you don't do it, your competitors will. I think that answers the question. To be honest, is law of supply and demand. If you've got demand, the price will go up. If you've got no demand, the price will go down. And the consumer is always looking for value. In the Victorian market, when is the time to invest in SEO, SEM marketing? It's now. Ultimately, you cannot stop your sales effort and build a relationship. You've got 6 weeks to 2 months at the moment. you cannot stop your efforts. Otherwise, if you close, if you stop those efforts, you will essentially lose a lot of ground that you made prior. So I think it's about continuing a certain level of engagement with your customers and with your partners, and continue building on those relationships. What is the role of marketing and revenue in navigating the business through and post-COVID? The same as it was before, but more closely related. Essentially, I think Yannick and I have been working well, over the past 9 years, and more in a sales. We're selling rooms. Actually, think revenue managers, think about it. You're not revenue managers. You're just a function of marketing. Your pricing going up and down, you're just a marketer. You're selling rooms. The marketer is selling rooms. The salesperson is selling rooms. You're not above the rest. The same with marketing. You're just one and the same person. You just got a different set of skills that when they come together, generate better outcomes.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are the best marketing channels now? And Yannick kills me for it, but it is the OTAs. You only pay as you go. And at the moment, if you don't have any money, they're your best mate. So you only participate to a program where you pay as you go. And if you're on page 1 of booking.com, I can guarantee you will get bookings.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much us. I probably will choose
I think we've just hit the hour.
Yeah,
running out of time.
How do you know a hotel on page 1 on OTA ranking now based on the customer personalization? Hey, that's the good question. There is no one ranking, but what you can do is you can do it based on as many searches as possible you want to be on that page 1. So it comes down to you want to come up as the most likely to convert in as many searches as possible. You've got tools like OTA Insights and others that can give you an average ranking. And otherwise, if you go on the OTA extranet, you can also get a sort order over the last 90 days on average, and that will give you an idea of where you're generally sitting based on your value proposition. In terms of the 10 to 20 occupancy for the next 6 months, when a hotel will face operational challenge, what should be their overall strategy to survive or recover in a market? Steal share from your competitors.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. But suppress your costs, to get your costs down. So really look at every single item of cost in your business. Eliminate cost and really steal market share, drive occupancy. Every bum in bed counts, and then work on increasing your overall revenue. So not just selling your room, what else can you do to build revenue?
Another thing I want to add is review absolutely every supplier contracts.
Yeah.
If supplier contracts doesn't support you during COVID, they will never support you. So technically, they're all fair game. In my perspective, this is why we're launching the Hotel Collective, is that when I've got a hotel yesterday that tells me, Matt, I've been contacting those guys, they get their subscription, they don't help us, etc. I'll ditch them. I mean, if they're not the right partner for you, just look at there's hundreds of suppliers that will do exactly the same thing, and you will find the right partners. If they don't support you during COVID, teach them and join the collective. So we'll find those suppliers for you and contact them.
That's a good note to end with. That's
from us. I wish to thank you. We keep contactable if you've got any more questions and want to put those all ingredients together and try to get the secret recipe from our burgers, but not sure we will give it to you. But anyway, thank you all. And
thanks everyone. I hope it's contributed to something and giving you something to think about.
Okay, stay safe. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Just on behalf of everyone, obviously just want to thank everyone who joined us for the webcast today. On behalf of No Vacancy especially, I'd also like to thank Matt, Yannicka, for sharing your time with us and obviously sharing your insight and expertise as well. Everyone who is in the webcast, you will receive an email tomorrow with access to the recording and also the presentation and slides. So you can definitely, you don't need to take everything with you right now, and you can definitely come back and obviously dissect and kind of digest everything a bit more as well. So thanks everyone. And we look forward to seeing you on the next webcast.
Okay,
thank you. Bye everyone.
Bye.